conclusive evidence that Māori ceded sovereignty. The original Treaty of Waitangi was written in English and signed on the 6th of February 1840, then subsequently translated into several languages such as Māori, Samoan, Tongan, Niuean and many other languages over time. Today in 2025, it has also been conveniently translated into woke, DEI, rainbow, queer, LGBTQIA++, transgender bender, mad hatter, gobbledygook to support the far left's destructive child grooming intersex ideology. However, there is a well-known principle in the justice system that ignorance of the law is no excuse, which means that individuals cannot use lack of knowledge about a law as a valid defence for violating it. This principle is a cornerstone of legal systems to ensure that individuals are aware of their legal obligations and are held accountable for their actions, regardless of whether they were aware of the specific law they violated. Nobody with any intelligence disputes that in New Zealand before the arrival of the British colonisers, there was no law. The British introduced law and order to New Zealand in 1840. That's a critical detail which should never be forgotten. The British wrote the Treaty of Waitangi in English, and that's it. That became the law of the land, the law for New Zealand. It's really a no-brainer to understand unless you have other ulterior motives to twist the facts. Ignorance of this law is no excuse, and attempting to divert attention away from the facts and the truth by quoting revised meanings or interpretations in other random foreign translations does not override ignorance and stupidity and has no legal standing whatsoever. The original first version of the Treaty of Waitangi, written in English by the coloniser British lawmakers who introduced law and order in the first place to New Zealand, is obviously the only version of the treaty that counts, and that version clearly states the following. Article the 1st, Article 1. The chiefs of the Confederation of the United Tribes of New Zealand and the separate and independent chiefs who have not become members of the Confederation cede to Her Majesty the Queen of England absolutely and without reservation all the rights and powers of sovereignty, which the said confederation or individual chiefs respectively exercise or possess, or may be supposed to exercise or possess over their respective territories as the sole sovereigns thereof. Article 1, clearly and unequivocally, according to law, Māori ceded sovereignty. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. Take note, Waitangi Tribunal, Labour, Green and Te Pāti Māori parties, courts, judges and lawyers, universities, colleges and so-called professor academics of law, etc. Māori ceded sovereignty. No question. End of story. In a nutshell then, New Zealand was a wild, unruly, lawless country. The Brits arrived, introduced law and order, wrote up a treaty in English, ceding sovereignty to the Crown, which all of the tribes signed, and in return, the tribes received immense benefits of British colonisation, which continues on to this day. The fact that woke, DEI, transgender bender queers or gravy train milking scam artists choose to deliberately twist the facts into a make-believe fairy tale is totally irrelevant. Ignorance of the law is no excuse. If the chiefs didn't understand what they signed at that time on 6th of February 1840, then tough bananas. They signed it nonetheless, and that's that. It's a done deal. Finished, over. Most of the chiefs were quick to sell their land for cash after the signing, so they knew fine and well what they signed. It's today's activists that are twisting the facts to gravy train rip-off hard-working, innocent New Zealand taxpayers. Te Pāti Māori or any other distant remote scam artist descendant would have even less of an idea of what the chiefs thought at the time of signing or understood at the time of signing, so that lot should simply take a hike. Just kick them all out of Parliament as soon as possible and wind up the Waitangi Tribunal. The people to ask for further explanation of the treaty meaning, if that's even necessary, are the descendants of the British colonisers, not the other way around. And it's also no excuse, regardless of what language you wish to translate the law into either, so get over it and get on with being one country with one people, one law, one vote and one flag. Thank you for listening. WhangāreiTim.